All right, gang, small intestine. All right, so our small intestine extends from the pyloric sphincter to the ileocecal valve. The average adult length is 22 feet. There's three portions: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. So our duodenum is the first part of the small intestine, shaped like a C. It's the shortest, widest, most fixed portion, and located primarily in right upper quadrant. Also extends into lower. And it joins the jejunum at a point called the duodenal flexure. It contains the major and minor duodenal papilla openings to the ducts for the liver or pancreas. So those of you who have done an ERCP in the OR, you will, skipped ahead, that you'll see those as well. So when they have that scope and they're entering in to the papilla and putting their wires up, that is where they're getting in, okay? The duodenum is 8 to 10 inches long, C-shaped again. This was just a nice anatomy picture. It also has contains the ligament of Treitz. The jejunum is located primarily to left of midline. You'll see it over here. The jejunum has this feathery appearance, so on your small bowel follow-through images, it has this feathery sort of appearance, and Dave loves to ask you that question, all right? The ileum is the longest portion. It connects to the large intestine from the terminal ileum, okay? So when you go in to do a TI, which is the terminal ileum, that's where the connection, that's what you're looking at, okay? Small bowel follow-through. So, small bowel follow-through looks at the stomach, small intestine, and terminal ileum. It uses barium or isoview, right? Water soluble if any question of perforation. It's either done by itself or in conjunction with an upper GI. You're going to go through your same history questions as the upper GI, NPO, pregnancy, anything to eat this morning. What surgeries have you had? Chest and abdomen areas. Have you had this before? Same deal. All right. Explain to the patient and really stress this to the patient. They could be with us for up to 4 to 5 hours, and we can't predict when they're going to be done. The average time is between 2 and 3 hours from start to finish. And a lot of times your patients, unfortunately, their physicians have not told them that they're going to be with us for hours. So sometimes they need to call daycare. They need to call work. They need to, make some arrangements to stay with us for a couple of hours. So you're going to change this patient completely. Give them pants, make sure their back is covered. I give them warm blankets. I want them to be comfortable. You're going to ask the radiologist what contrast they want to use and what time they'd like their first image taken. I also would like to add to this, I want you to make sure and ask if they'd like a scout before, so you would just take a KUB ahead of time. Your radiologist is going to tell you to give 2 cups. They don't mean cups, they mean those barium containers. I don't give a straw, and sometimes you have to coach them to get it down. I always encourage my patients to walk the block, so you know that rectangle around the area there at our clinical site. So where the small bowel waiting room is right on the same sort of wall as room 5. So get them up, show them how to walk around, get moving. What are some reasons for ordering a small bowel follow-through? It could be Crohn's disease, small bowel obstruction, abdominal pain, diarrhea. So here's a breakdown here, small bowel follow-through. So if it's with an upper GI, you're already doing your stomach imaging with the upper GI. So then when you're done with the GI, the radiologist will say, take an x-ray in 20 minutes. All of our images are done prone, and you calculate from the time that your patient started drinking for the upper GI. So anytime you have a patient with upper GI small bowel follow-through, make sure you're documenting what time they start drinking. Or on your, in the control area where you send your images, all your images have the time on it. So if you forget to document the time, your first image will usually have the time stamped on it. If they're doing a small bowel follow-through only, then you are just taking overhead images until they reach their terminal ileum. So they don't do fluoroscopy to start. So they have no stomach imaging. Overhead images. All right. So if the patient has had an upper GI already, you can move to step 2 here, and you're just going to take all the images at the iliac crest. If they did not have an upper GI and they are a small bowel follow through only, which is what you need to comp, all right? Small bowel follow through comps have to be small bowel follow throughs all by themselves. Your first image is going to contain the top of the stomach. So you're going to center up a little bit higher than the iliac crest. The images are done prone unless it's a house patient and they can't go prone. This compresses the abdominal cavity, spreading out the intestines, making it easier to see. The time must be documented on the image itself, so you're going to annotate, right? So to write electronically on your image, you're going to annotate. So, and it's always we do it in military time. So if it was a 30-minute at 8 o'clock, you're going to put 30, MIN, the @ sign, 08 o'clock. And then you're going to check that image with a radiologist. They're going to say, do another film in another 30 minutes. On your little card, you're going to write, you're going to add the time together from the start. So that's going to be a 1-hour film at 08:30, if you're with me, all right? Always check back in with the patient, give them the time for the next image. Say, hey, we're going to do your next image in 30 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever it is. So they're not just sitting in that room waiting. AP or PA. All right, ideally you want it prone. But so you're going to center at iliac crest for all the ones after the first image. So first image is a little higher. We just need the top of the stomach on, only if they haven't had an upper GI. These are just sort of some examples as the contrast is moving through the barium. And some people move really quickly. Some people are done in 30 minutes. Some are done in an hour. Some aren't done for 8 hours, depending on where they're at. Okay, so as it moves, as they drink, it'll come down, move through, and then over to the terminal ileum, okay? So these are just more examples of images here. Terminal ileum, this is the hot spot. They call it a hot spot. Most of these patients go through this entire test for this one little location. The TI is done in the fluoroscopy room. So most of the time you'll have your patient supine on the table. You need either your F spoon or the compression paddle in the fluoro room and the lead glove for the radiologist. They're going to compress on this area here and look at the connection. So Crohn's disease and inflammatory bowel disease, they often are found in this general area here. So that's why we do this whole test usually. Here's my image here. So your F spoon looks like an F here, compression paddle here. There is a cone as well underneath your image intensifier that they can use to help with this compression paddle if they need more compression with. Just sort of a general what your fluoro spots will look like for your ileocecal valve. Some overview of quadrants for anatomy purposes. And post-exam instructions. So anytime you give a patient barium, you want to make sure and give them some post-exam instructions. So have your patient drink extra fluids the next 24 to 48 hours. Barium can cause constipation and dehydration. Their stool is also probably going to be white or gray in color, depending on how much they drank. So just giving your patient a heads up on this is important so they don't panic if these things happen. But really stressing to them that they really need to drink a lot of fluids. I tend to ask, especially my older patients, if they're prone to constipation, because they may need to take some over-the-counter things like a milk with magnesia or something like that. So making sure to give post-exam instructions is really important. Small bowel follow-throughs. I really would love for you to not ever tell your patient, oh, you're probably going to be done the next picture we take, because if you are not done the next picture you take, they are going to be really upset. So watch what you're saying. Don't ever give an estimate of pictures of time, because when it goes past that picture or past that time that you told them, they tend to get upset and they can't eat this entire time. So be aware. Watch your timing on the cards, make sure it's accurate. If you do not take the image at the time on the card, so if the time says a 1-hour film at 12 o'clock and you took it at 12:10, then you need to document that it was a 1 hour, 10 minute at 12:10. You need to document the time that you actually took it if it was late. All right, I hope that quick speedy spiel on small bowel follow through was helpful. And I will see you guys later.